What's good, sports gamers, and today I'll be going over with you how to run the pick and roll, how to avoid the common mistakes that can happen, and how to run it to generate high scoring chances and always be in control of what you're doing in NBA 2K23. So alright, let's get it. With the pick and roll, if done correctly, you will create an advantage for yourself on ball that has a trickle down effect on the defense, where they're constantly one step behind trying to catch up. So I'm going to go over that with you, but first off, let's get into the basic controls. And to call for a pick and roll, you hold L1 or LB on your controller, and the player will move towards you with the pick and roll display above their head. And by holding L1 or LB, the game will choose between whoever is the closest to you between your power forward and center. So if you're coming up the court on an inbound and you hold L1 or LB, a good portion of the time, the trail man will set the screen for you because he'll be the closest guy to the ball handler, because the inbounder is usually a big man. And if the guy with the ball in his hand is the power forward, like Kevin Durant, it will either call the small forward or center. And if you're using the center, it will call either the power forward or small forward. You can also quickly tap the L1 or LB button to summon the screen man. But the display that lets you change what type of screen and decide to set the screen on will be gone very quickly. So you must change it very fast before you let go of L1 to LB if you're playing a friend or somebody on the same screen. Now, instead of the game choosing who to set a screen for you based on proximity and between only two positions, you can manually decide who you want to run a pick and roll with you as well. And to do so, you tap L1 or LB on your controller to bring up your team's icons, and then hold the corresponding player's button that's above their head that you want to come over to you. Now, PS4 and Xbox One, it's a whole different setup. After hitting L1 or LB on your controller, you then have to hit R1 or RB for positional play calling to bring up everybody's icon. And then you can hold whoever's icon you want to run a pick and roll with. So if you want to run a pick and roll with DeAnthony Melton and James Harden screening, I don't know why you would, but it's possible, by holding X after bringing up the player's icons. So as you'd imagine, you can get some interesting combos and definitely better shooting screening with guards and those big small forwards who don't get the automatic pick and rolls you do by holding L1 or LB, just because they're not listed as a power forward or center. Now, whether you called for a manual screen or an automatic one, you're able to tell whoever is coming over to slip the screen, which means they will immediately bolt to the hoop if the lane is clear, by tapping L1 or LB on your controller again before the screener makes contact with the defender, or else they won't do it. The best guys to slip screens with are those who have the speed to take advantage of the hedge defender playing high, giving them the lane. And when I mean playing high, that means the hedge defender is coming out playing the ball handler like this. Now, while holding the L1 or LB button while the player is coming over, you can change the side he sets up on and the type of screen you're getting. To change the type of screen while you hold the L1 or LB button, with the R1 or RB button, you can change from a roll, which has the screener roll to the hoop, to a fade, which has them set up for a jumper if left open. And to change the side the screen is set, you want to click in the left stick on your controller. And you can further influence the defender with your changes by knowing you're able to move around still while you make these adjustments. Now, the goal is you want the defender to smack into the screen and capitalize on it. Usually there's a second and a half decision-making window for your human on-ball defender to react to the screen. Meaning if they're on ball, it's, okay, I'm guarding the ball handler. Oh, a screen is being set. What should I do? And then do it. The last three parts usually happen, like I said, within 2 seconds. So one of our goals is to make that decision-making window nearly impossible to execute in time, while also not being predictable using the screen by simply waiting them out, allowing them to fully expose their cards, whether they're going to jump the screen or stay honest. Now, you run into slight issues when you're setting a screen with somebody your opponent sees coming a mile away, because they had more than a second and a half to process it. And it's when they're more vulnerable to getting faked out because they've seen the pick and roll coming a mile away. And of course, something is a lot easier to anticipate when it's coming from here instead of from here. Also want to make sure the defender is on the same path as the screener, so he will slam right into him. You can do this by simply just focusing on the screener and defender's feet, and it will guide you in the right direction if they connected properly or not, and if the defender is going over or under the screen and what to do next. Successfully got the on-ball defender out of position, you still have to make good decisions. When coming around the corner, I like to let go of turbo to give myself more time to process what's happening. You want to check if you're open for a shot or drive first and foremost. The driving lane comes open when the hedge defender, who's the big you're using, and the screens defender is playing back and is not directly in front of you, thus giving you an angle to the hoop. Next, if not, you naturally should go, okay, well, is the guy who set the screen for me open, whether he's fading or rolling to the rim. An alley-oop opportunity opens up when the roller has a clear lane and nobody is directly between you and the roll man, because they'll be able to jump and steal it. Now, if he's not open, why not? If the hedge guy's doing a lot of the heavy lifting, you might want to press the issue more. Threaten more mid-range shots to get him to jump out, opening up the alley-oop. Or move on entirely. You don't have to pass to the roll man every time. Sometimes the play is a bust and it's better to avoid an obvious turnover. Another reason the roll man might not be open is the other player that usually causes the most problems, and that's the weak side corner defender rotating over. It's usually him because help from the strong side. Majority of players can see that and hit the obvious open man when the defense having almost no time to react. But the weak side corner guy coming over forces the longest pass to his guy. And that guy running over isn't in a direct line of view for the ball handler, so sometimes you can even miss this pass unless you're looking for him ahead of time. And this can cause a trickle-down effect of you hitting the long corner pass or the upcoming open guy, the player on the wing. It's a cat and mouse game, but if you know where to look and what to expect, you won't be caught off guard as much. I talked about checklists before, so you want it to essentially become in your head, can I score or drive? Can the big score? Can a guy chilling around the three-point line score? And there's a couple of little things I want to go over as well involving the pick and roll game. If you're struggling to score and are up against the clock, a quick pick and roll can help free you up in an otherwise doomed possession. You can also help yourself running a pick and roll from the corner, which makes it harder to play help defense and makes your reads a lot easier. Don't be afraid to call for another screen if your opponent successfully denied your first attempt. Passing to somebody on the wing while on the move can create a very quick pick and roll opportunity where the defense has very limited time to respond. You want to preferably do this with your center or power forward at the top so you can hold L1 or LB to call for the screen. And because it's so quick, it limits the defense's aggressiveness because the hedge defender is too busy guarding the ball handler and staying between him and the rim. And pick and rolls can also force a clear switch of a big and small, where sometimes the pass to him will be obvious and then you can exploit the mismatch. And sometimes you have to work the ball around to others to create a better angle to not get intercepted. Also, when selecting plays, you can select specific ones that automatically have a pick and roll run for you, while also having an off-ball action to keep the defense occupied. Or by their positioning, you can make your reads easier by having one guy on the weak side instead of two. So if your opponent helps from the weak side, nobody is there to help cover. Or position them not in the corner so the help defender is chasing you just as much as they're trying to get to the rim to defend it. And lastly, you can also set it up to limit the on-ball defender's reaction time to the screen with plays that leave one side of the court empty where you can aggressively attempt to drive. And if denied, you can transition easily into a pick and roll with the trail man. So alright sports gamers, I hope this video was able to help you out, and if you like the content we provide, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more NBA 2K content. And once you're with us, hit that bell icon at the bottom so you don't miss anything we put out. Alright people, I'm Chris from Sports Gamers Online. Thank you all for watching, and be good y'all.